Hey guys, Note for Life here with a new type of video that I want to start doing, and that is where I'm going to take a look at a anime-only archetype and basically go through each and every single card that we know of that they had in the anime or in real life, and talk about if this archetype is worth Konami to print and what I think about it, and basically how good it would be if it was printed with the actual anime effects, and if I would change anything for Konami to print it. Now, I was gonna do this originally because that whole World of Darkness set was leaked or rumored, and then it was confirmed to be false, which sucked because I really want this archetype to be printed, and it is the Darkness archetype. Now, a little bit of background on this archetype. It's a archetype of dark fiend type monsters that were utilized by Darkness, or Night Shroud as he was called in the English version. And he, for those who watch GX like me, because I grew up with it, Night Shroud was always kind of a secondary character, like secondary bad guy, and however, he becomes a main antagonist in the fourth and final season, where he tries to enshroud the world in darkness and everything, and his deck is pretty interesting. That being said, we have sadly only gotten 2 of the cards that he used, which sucks because it's a very interesting deck, and I would love to try this out. So, shut up and get on with this. The first card in the archetype is the main one. This is the main card that's integral to the deck and how it plays, and that is Darkness. Yeah, that's the name. This is a field spell. I'm going to go ahead and read the effect off to you guys. You can activate this card. When you activate this card, destroy all cards in your spell and trap card zone. Then set 1, 0, Infinity, Darkness 1, Darkness 2, and Darkness 3 at random from your hand or deck. You cannot look at these face-down cards. During each end phase, set all face-up trap cards you control, and randomly rearrange all cards in your spell and trap card zone. If a spell or trap card you control is removed from the field, destroy all set spell and trap cards. Destroy all spell and trap cards you control. Now, this card is integral to how the deck plays. It is this card and 0, Infinity, Darkness 1, Darkness 2, and Darkness 3 are all required for the deck to play. You literally cannot do this deck without playing these cards in it. And honestly, there are only 2 things I would change about this card. First, I would like it to be able to grab the 0, Infinity, Darkness 1, Darkness 2, and Darkness 3 from your graveyard as well, because then if this card does die, or if the any of the Darkness cards do die, like Darkness 1, Darkness 2, Darkness 3, and 0 and Infinity do die, even though they all self-destruct, you can still activate another one and set them all. Because I've been playing this deck on YGO Pro since it's on YGO Pro, and your opponent activates MST, you lose automatically. That's basically the situation that it is. And now you may think, oh, but you can't look at your face downs. You may think that that's a bad thing. It's not. Well, it kind of is, kind of isn't. Because how the deck plays, a lot of them that you bypass that effect and look at them. And, yeah. I like the whole concept of not being able to look at your face down cards. It's pretty cool. Then we have Darkness 1. If this card is first activated when Infinity or L and 0 are activated, it gains the following effect. Destroy 1 card your opponent controls, then destroy 1 card your opponent controls for each face-up Darkness continuous trap card activated after this card. Now, all of the Darkness trap cards, Darkness 1, Darkness 2, and Darkness 3, have this first line of effect where they can only gain their effect if you first activated Infinity and then activated 0. Now, Infinity and 0 we will get to later, but basically what they do is it activates it, and then it activates all cards to the other side of it. It's kind of weird. This card, it's very, very good, especially being able to basically let you pop 4 cards, because it does the initial one, and then it does a up to another destruction times the number of Darkness face-up trap cards you control. That does count itself, so that's 4. So just activating this, and if you're, unlucky where this card was the only one in between 0 and Infinity, then yeah, you only get to pop 2 cards, but that's still pretty good. And then of course, Darkness will reset it during your end phase, which is pretty good. Then there's Darkness 2. Basically, same first line of effect. Then the second part of it is select one face-up monster you control. It gains 1,000 attack until the end phase. Then that one face-up monster you control gains 1,000 attack for each darkness continuous trap card you control activated after this card until the end phase. Again, really, really good. This card being able to be activated during... I don't know if you can activate it during the damage step because it requires you to activate Infinity and Zero first. But however, the fact that you can activate it like whenever your opponent declares the actual attack and stuff is pretty cool. Then there's Darkness 3, and this one is very, very obnoxious. Basically, same first effect, and then the second effect is it does 1,000 damage to your opponent, then 1,000 more times the number of Darkness continuous trap cards activated. So if you were to flip up this and then then the other two, your opponent would be taking 4,000 damage. Honestly, this card does need to be dumbed down a bit. I think if it were to be printed, it would do 500 times the number and maybe not count itself. I don't know. But regardless, this card is pretty cool. Then we have Infinity. If you control a face-up darkness, apply an appropriate effect. If you do not control a face-up zero, activate one set card in your spell and trap card zone. If you control a face-up zero, activate all set spell and trap cards you control in between this card and zero. And then zero basically has the same effect except it searches out for Infinity. So basically, what this does is when you activate this card, you can basically only activate it while you have darkness, and then you activate zero, or at least you try to, unless like you have someone that lets you look at your face downs. You then activate all cards in between zero and Infinity. And as you can see, what you mainly want to do is you want to have zero on one side of the board and Infinity on the other side, and then the three darkness cards in the middle. This allows you to get all three of their effects, and it's just ridiculous. That being said, I'm just going to skip over zero because it has the same effect, but basically looks for Infinity instead. Now we start getting into the actual monsters. Excuse me. The first card is Darkness Bramble. Level 6, 2,000 attack, 2,000 defense. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can look at all set spell and trap cards you control, ignoring the effects of darkness. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. During the end phase, if you have less than 4,000 life points, your life points become 4,000. This card is obnoxious. That's all I have to say. First of all, it has 2,000 attack. That's kind of standard for a level 6 monster, especially back for GX times. And the fact that the darkness cards allow you to gain it more attack and do the damage, and also this allows you to look at your cards so you can be like, okay, here's zero, here's Infinity, activate. Because normally, under the effects of darkness, you have to take a guess and try and figure out where it is exactly. So obviously, most of the darkness cards allow you to look at your face downs regardless of darkness. Otherwise, I think that this card is pretty cool. I don't know about that life point gain effect. I think that it, honestly, if they were to print it in real life, it'd probably be a once per duel effect. Although, honestly, I think it's fine. Mostly because then it's not that hard to kill. I mean, you have to kill it by anything other than battle, but let's face it, the effect that it cannot be killed by battle is irrelevant in today's meta because there's so many destruction effects. But however, it all comes down to if people actually play those destruction effects. Then we have this little creepy thing. Darkness Eye. Basically, once per turn, you can look at all set spell and trap cards you control, ignoring the effects of darkness. And if this card is in face-up attack position during your standby phase, once during this turn, you can normal summon one monster without tributing. The problem with this thing is that unless you get really lucky and get it bumped up to 3,000 attack power by darkness, I think 2, this thing's not going to last to your turn to get that additional normal summon effect. Otherwise, you have to play like Wabaku or something. And honestly, that's really only useful for whenever you don't already have darkness out. And yeah, this thing is just creepy. Darkness Necro Slime. This one's a weird one. You can send this face-up card to the graveyard, select one darkness monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Oh yeah, you can't special summon itself. I don't know why you would, but you can't. This card, it's pretty good. I like it that the darkness deck has its own Monster Reborn, and the fact that it's a monster just means that you don't have to clog up your spell and trap of cards, card zones, or have to worry about, not having them out. I think this thing's effect would be fine printed in real life. Now here's one that honestly, if it were printed, it'd have to have some crazy cost. Okay, Darkness Outsider, level 4, Fiend, Dark, 0 attack, 0 defense. Once per turn, you can discard 1 card and declare a monster card name. If that card is in your opponent's deck or extra deck, special summon it to your side of the field, ignoring the summoning conditions. Okay, you're dueling against your dolls. Okay, discard El Shaddai Winda, El Shaddai Construct, El Shaddai Beast. This card is insane. Like, literally, although it does require you to have knowledge of your opponent's deck, that is the one thing about it. But however, if you're going against a meta deck, it's going to be pretty easy to know your opponent's deck inside and out. I'm just saying here, especially if they're playing this atypical build of that deck, it's going to be real easy. Okay, discard a card, call, I don't know, Lackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning. Again, if this thing were to be printed, it'd have to have some crazy cost along with that. Although you have to take into consideration that's a level 4 of 0 attack and 0 defense. This thing is not going to last on the field. That being said, also being able to steal monsters from your opponent's extra deck. Okay, discard call Beals. This thing is stupid. I don't know what kind of stipulation I put onto it. Maybe a once per duel or something like that. Other than that, it would really have to have some crazy stipulation, like discard a card, pay 2,000 life points. Like, even that would be worth it. Next, we have Darkness Raincrow. Honestly, I don't even care if this thing does get printed or not, because this thing is not really relevant. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can send this card from your hand and 1 Face of Darkness Bramble you control to the graveyard. Special summon 1 Darkness Neosphere from your deck. Now, who is Darkness Neosphere, you're wondering? Well, let me find it. Oh, there it is. This is one of the two Darkness cards that have actually been printed. Darkness Neosphere is technically the boss monster of the deck. I think it's a he. This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned except by sending 1 Fiend type monster you control and 1 Fiend type monster from your hand to the graveyard when your opponent's monster declares an attack. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. For some ridiculous reason, even though it has 4,000 attack and 4,000 defense. Once per turn, you can return all face-up trap cards you control to the hand. That effect, that last effect at least, is actually pretty good, especially in certain decks, since you can recycle Phoenix Chain, Call of the Haunted, stuff like that. And obviously, with the whole continuous trap thing that this deck has going for it, that is not a bad effect, especially if you want to use some of your other cards like MST or anything. Now then, Dark Seed. This one is another obnoxious one. I swear this whole deck is all about being obnoxious. Kind of like the bamboozled Celtic Guardian. Or no, the obnoxious Celtic. Yeah, you know who I mean. If this card is sent to the graveyard, notice how it says if this card. Doesn't matter how. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can activate this effect. If you do, special summon it during your second standby phase after activation. And if this card is special summoned this way, it gains these effects. This card cannot be destroyed by battle, and during each player's end phase, if you have less than 4,000 life points, your life points become 4,000. It's kind of like Darkest Bramble, except it's just easier to trigger. It's easier to get out, and honestly, it's usually what I tend to do when playing the deck on YGO Pro. I usually like full spiral this thing, set it or something, and then let my opponent kill it, activate its effect to standby phases later. Special summon it, tribute it off for a Bramble, and then activate its effect again. It'll come right back into 2 standby phases. It's crazy. Sorry if I keep stuttering. I'm like talking a mile a minute here. This thing's kind of interesting. If the total attack of all face-up monsters you control is 0, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. That's the one thing I hate about this card, is that it has to be special summoned in defense. When this card is special summoned this way, select 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. This card's attack becomes equal to that monster's defense. and its defense becomes equal to that monster's attack. That is very, very odd. So its defense becomes equal to its attack, and its defense becomes, its attack becomes, its attack becomes equal to its defense, and its defense becomes equal to that monster's attack. Oh god, I think I have this programmed wrong on YGO since it's reverse. It's basically a copycat on YGO. But with that being said, this thing is okay. I mean, it just, you summon it and you target your opponent's strongest monster, and you're like, I can't get over me. And then let's see here, I think. Yeah, here we go. This is the only other Darkness card that has been printed for us. Darkness Destroyer, level 7 Fiend, 2300 attack, 1800 defense, and 2300 attack is terrible for level 7. It should be level 6 in my opinion. Cannot be special summoned, especially with that first line right there. This card can attack twice during each battle phase. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage to your opponent. Honestly, considering this thing is already printed, I think that Konami could have done better. Especially since they decided not to print the rest of the archetype. He kind of looks like a messed up Summon Skull if we look at his head. And then this card, I don't know if it's part of the archetype or not. It was included in like the archetype thing. Darkness Half, continuous trap card. Select one monster you control with the highest attack. Special summon 2 dark tokens. Fiend type dark, level 3, attack 1000, defense 1000, in attack position to your opponent's side of the field. Half the original attack of the selected monster. When this card is removed from the field, destroy that monster. When that monster is removed from the field, destroy this card. It's kind of like a other, what's the word I'm looking for? Ojama token thing. This card, it's okay. I don't really think that it should be printed. I don't even know if it's really part of the archetype or not. It was just listed under the archetypal lists. Anyways, guys, that is the Darkness archetype in a whole. What do you think of it? Do you think that Konami should print it? If you do, what do you think that they should change about it to make it better or worse? I mean, this is definitely not the most broken anime archetype. I could have a whole separate video about the broken anime archetypes. Heck, depending on which one I want to talk about next, or depending on which one you request, I can talk about it. Speaking of, guys, if you have any anime archetypes that you want me to discuss, please leave them in the comments. I can already tell that Orichalcos and Valon's armor monsters are going to be a very common request if people actually do put it in the comments. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you like this series. I'm going to start trying to do more card discussions as well, but usually by the time I learn of a card, like 3 major YouTubers have already talked about that card, and I don't really want to just be beating a dead horse of repeating what everybody else has heard already. So, with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Rate, comment, subscribe. Have a great day. Thank you for watching.